Thanks for joining us for another episode of Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, here at the News Forum, where all voices matter. It's been another interesting month for the markets and the Canadian economy. And here to dissect and make sense out of it all is Thomas Caldwell. He is the chairman of Caldwell Securities in Toronto. Welcome back to the show, Tom.
Thank you, Tony.
I guess I'd love to get your perspective on the month that was in the Canadian and indeed the world economy. What did you take note of?
Well, it's much the same. I think I mentioned before in the program, there are three ingredients here: inflation, interest rates, and possible recession. The markets seem to be focused very clearly on interest rates. That is the actions of the central banks, Canada, US, Bank of England, etc. And the question is, how tight are they going to make things to try to bring inflation in line? Historically, they've always overshot and tumbled us into a recession, time and time again. I hope by now they've learned the lesson. And also the inflation that they're addressing is, partly supply side caused, whether it be in energy, whether it be in Russia, whether it be on and on and on. So really, interest rates are not totally the appropriate tool to deal with it. And remember, interest rates inflation is a lagging indicator, and it's a flawed number, and it seems to be abating anyway a little bit. So the big focus is on interest rates. That's the fear, and that's been sort of tumbling these markets down. And of course, there are lots of other things going on, but I think that's the primary.
Right, because the markets have taken a bit of a plunge, haven't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's been volatility. There's been days when it really has bounced back quite aggressively, and those are the bargain hunters coming in. But basically, there's this malaise. And remember, as you look at the economy and media, there's all kinds of problems out there right now. It's like life. You never have one problem at a time. You have a whole bunch simultaneously. You just got to pick out which ones you can deal with and what are the most important. But, people are concerned about the escalation. The Ukraine, the rhetoric is heating up a little bit. So there's a lot of stuff going on that's kind of affecting this sense of angst, if you will.
Now, I noticed one good indicator in the last go-round, which was our jobs numbers were up by 21,000, which is not, a big number, but at least it's going in the right direction. Did you notice that as well?
I don't really watch the Canadian numbers very much because Stats Canada is notorious in terms of their numbers. My concern in the Canadian jobs number is the bigger, longer picture. I don't see industrial policies really helping Canada competitively. I don't see us really even addressing any of those issues. That will have a long-term effect because countries are in competition just as companies are. And we're playing silly bears in other games instead of addressing the future of young Canadians here. I keep looking at all these condos in downtown Toronto, and you finally say, where are they all going to work?
Right.
And maybe they're all at U of T, or maybe they're escape houses for people out of China or troubled areas of the world. I don't know. But effectively, the jobs, that's the thing that concerns me in the future, big picture. So 20 grand either way, that makes no difference.
Gotcha. I mean, and also we've got labor shortages in some areas as well. That's also a longer term trend, right?
It is you've seen a lot of the headlines about visas, et cetera, for students and skilled workers. We're not attracting the workers we want. We're being attracting them, but they can't get in because everybody's, quote, working from home, unquote, which is translated into not working at all. And you see that with the passport office, social insurance, everything at the government level. They just don't seem to be processing what we need to do to bring the people in on a timely basis.
Yeah, there seems to be quite a lag, and I read recently that some people are kind of giving up hope. They wanted to emigrate to Canada. These are young people with a lot of skills, and they're just giving up.
Yes.
So that's an issue for sure. I want to talk. We're almost at the break, so we'll just have to start with this. Actually, I'll ask you another question first, and then we'll get to the big issue, which is OPEC, et cetera. Prospects for a recession in 30 seconds, yes or no?
Both. It depends how tightly they jam these interest rates down. Yeah. It would be good if we saw bad economic numbers now, which might cause them to ease off a little bit. Right. So actually, bad economic numbers now might be helpful. But I hope they've learned the lesson. They don't shut us down with high interest rates, high interest.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good advice for sure. We are here with Thomas Caldwell. He is of Caldwell Securities in Toronto. We'll be back after a brief set of messages. Please stay with us.